Good evening, everybody. On behalf of the Indian section, I welcome you all. Let's all join together first in the universal invocation. O hidden light, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he's also one with every other. So, good evening once again. And today we do part 3 of the book Practical Occultism. Our speaker is Suvralina sister. She's a wonderful speaker with lots of stories and her lovely personality, which we would say, keep your personality, let it flower and show us whatever you have to offer without any pressure from it to be anything other than who you are, Suvralina. We love your stories. So please do take up this part 3 that you're going to take up of the book. Thank you.
Thank you, Vimalji. Yes, I have stories too today. So, because today we are going to talk about the daily life thing. Already the rules parts are over. We also talked about occultism and occult arts. So, the definition part and a bit of the difficult part is over, I would say. But the real difficulty starts now. The difficult part in understanding is over, definitely. I hope so, that because we simplified the things to our regular life, now the real practice time comes from today. I don't say that it comes from today as in, practically people are not doing something and only because of this talk they're going to do it, including me. Everyone sitting here are people who I have been referring to read this book. It's really time now to practice it, face the test of life, fall, then rise, and balance our life. I mean, that's what I take this book as. So I would read passages from the book which I have noted, and also for wherever possible, I could gather up the stories from all over sources, from the internet, from certain stories we already had gone through in our previous sessions or other books I have read. I would be starting using that. Okay. Now, as usual, I'm not reading the whole book, obviously. Certain things which appeal to me and I thought I would be doing justice while explaining, I picked up those. It's always advisable to read the book on our own. Everybody should individually read the book to grasp it and practice it properly at his or her level. Now, I have started from the start of the day, as in whatever daily life stuff, daily life practice or habits Madam Blavatsky has suggested through this book. I have started from the moment we are rising in the morning. Okay, so I'll take it from there. She says, rise early as soon as you are awake. Being awake and rising and getting out of the bed are two different things. People prefer to, they're awake, but they don't want to get up. So she's referring that thing here. Rise early as soon as you are awake, without lying idly in bed, half waking and half dreaming. Then earnestly pray that all mankind may be spiritually regenerated, that those who are struggling on the path of truth may be encouraged by your prayers and work more earnestly and successfully, and that you may be strengthened and not yield to the seductions of the senses. So she's talking about the first prayer in the morning. So she's emphasizing the importance of beginning our day with a purpose, a discipline, with compassion also. It's not about just, I have to wake up because I have this purpose to meet and I have to do this job, do that job. I have to only do my duties. No, she's talking about a purpose, discipline, also a compassion towards the world, the mankind. She's asking to pray for others, pray for the entire mankind to be spiritually generated. So it encourages us not to linger lazily in bed once we are awake, but instead to rise and immediately center ourselves through prayer and intention. So the moment we wake up, we are like, okay, I woke up, my day has started. I can't just lie down. I have to just wake up and, get on my toes. Get on my toes, not just for my regular work, but for my purpose, the discipline I have to maintain today, and the kind of love and compassion I'm going to spread. It should start from the very morning we wake up. Now she's talking about resisting distractions that come from our senses. So, what are those distractions? So, in terms of discipline, she's saying we should not waste our early morning hours in laziness. Many a times we wake up maybe around, people would be waking up, let's say 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, but till 30, 45 minutes, or maybe even 1 hour, 1.5 hours. Okay, what do I do when I wake up? Okay, let me just lie down a few more minutes. So that's how the laziness in the morning hours is only wasting our time. That is the discipline she's talking about. Spiritual focus she's talking about here through our higher purpose. When we start the day with a prayer and a higher purpose for a universal thing, not my petty self thing, it will give me some energy, higher energy rather. And compassion, because I'm not praying for my own self, but for everyone on the path of growth. This will give inner strength, a power to stay true to the values, and then only I can resist the distractions or fight the temptations. When Swami Vivekananda was traveling across India as a wandering monk, he had once stayed in a small village. Every morning before dawn, he would wake up, bathe, and sit in a deep meditation and prayer. A villager who was noticing him, he asked him one morning, "Why do you wake up so early when even everyone else is sleeping?" Vivekananda said with a smile, "When the world sleeps, the soul awakens. These hours are precious. I don't pray for myself, I pray for every being walking the hard path of life to find light, love, and strength. If I don't start my day with clarity, how can I serve others?" What a powerful message. Simple yet powerful. It's not about most of the people are sleeping, so why should I wake? No, the soul is already awake. And when your body is awake and you see that, the soul is awake, you realize that. So it's better to use that time. It's better to not lie down and waste energy and time, rather bring the spiritual focus. Also, when we start our day with our regular hygiene, like taking bath, doing our physical, whatever activities we're doing, our exercise, or or basic things we do for our personal hygiene, personal fitness, when we are doing during the whole time, your will, this is what Madam Blavatsky is writing, when you bathe, exercise during the whole time, your will, that your moral impurity should be washed away with those of your body. So it is not about just taking a bath and, cleaning the outer body. She's encouraging us to transform our daily routine into a spiritual practice. While I'm cleansing my body, I should also consciously cleanse my mind and soul. So it is not about just the bodily purification, the inner purification she's talking about here. And this kind of talks about a reflection. The moment I'm aware that I'm doing my inner perfection, inner purification, I'm actually doing reflection while I'm taking a bath. It's just not cleansing my body. I have to cleanse my mind and mind also. So when the water flows over your body, imagine all the negative emotions and awakens and the weaknesses are being washed away. I remember once Shikhar had done a meditation. He had suggested that when you come back from office, because there are so many impressions, so many negative impressions, tension, lot of botheration, irritation, the physical dust, and all the time you're traveling to office and coming back home. So when you take a bath and sit quiet, and you try to do this exercise. He had suggested some exercise so that these negative thoughts and energies are just pushed back. It's thrown away, thrown out from your body. So that is the kind of thing I was kind of recalling when I was reading this book, this portion at least. So it is in our hand to cleanse our, not just the body, but the mind as well. All our feelings, thoughts, and everything. Now she's talking about here certain rules in the book. She writes, in your relations with others, observe the following rules. Never do anything which you are not bound to do as your duty. Any unnecessary things she's talking about. Before you do a thing, think whether it is your duty to do it. Otherwise, it's actually unnecessary. Never speak an unnecessary word. Think of the effects your words might produce before you give utterance to them. Never allow any unnecessary thought to occupy your mind. You cannot make your mind a blank at all at once. So in the beginning, try to prevent evil or idle thoughts by occupying your mind with the analysis of your own faults, contemplation of the perfect ones. The fourth rule she's talking about here is, during meals, exercise your will that your food should be properly digested and built for your body in harmony with your spiritual aspirations. So in our daily activities, even if it is the simplest task of taking a bath, taking food, thinking about something, speaking something, all our basic daily activities she wants us to regulate, to revisit, to understand what's going on. So these four spiritual disciplines for daily living, teaching us how to live mindfully. So it is really difficult when we are not mindful and purposeful, but the moment we are alert, we are mindful, we are observant, we are aware, automatically we will be able to discipline our daily living. So the fourth thing she's talking about here is duty-based living. If there is this duty I have to be doing, I should do. Otherwise, it's necessary. It's not necessary. So maybe as a simple exercise, before I plunge into some activity, if I see that, okay, this is my duty, I have committed to someone, I have to complete this task. Maybe it depends on the kind of role we are playing. I'm a student, I must complete my task. I'm doing a job, I must finish my committed hours of duties which I would have been assigned to, and I should complete on time. There's a there's a stakeholder in my office who's dependent on me. There's a client waiting for me, or something like that. If I'm a family person, I have duties towards my children. I have duty towards visitors visiting my home, and I have to serve them with due regards the food and time and whatever I should be giving to to those guests. Depending on what role I'm playing. I'm a servant in a house. I must do my duties uh, with mindfulness, cleanliness, with due regards to my master, something like that. So it's all depending. It's all depending on my right action. She's also talking about right speech. Words are powerful. I must check on what I'm speaking. And she's also talking about right thoughts. If there are idle, evil thoughts coming to my mind, I must be ready to replace them with positive and good thoughts, noble thoughts. And when she's talking about when you're eating something, that is actually, if we talk about its right action, right speech, right thought, this fourth rule is actually right consumption. Whatever I'm eating, even eating can be sacred. If I'm not hungry, I'm just eating out of my habit or emotion. That means I'm allowing myself to temptations. I'm allowing my body to diseases and overeating or anything that comes out of overeating as a result. So the simple rules we should follow, as in whenever I'm eating something, I must understand what I'm eating. Even I was told by a very senior brother that if you're even taking a sip of water, have that regard to that sip of water also. Every bit of food and water we are taking in, if we are disregarding them, there are people who kind of take pile of foods and they throw. That is disregarding the food. So right consumption talks about your food intake also, like the way we are taking good, bad, whatever thoughts inside, or good or bad thought, bad feelings, whatever we're taking inside. food, the very physical, material food also, we have to be observant. Then she's talking about reading. The one or two lines she has written is, do not read much. If you read for 10 minutes, reflect for as many hours. That means 10 minutes reading, 10 minutes, 10 hours. 1 minute reading is for 1 hour reflection. Habituate yourself to solitude and to remaining alone with your thoughts. Here she is calling to deep reflection over just shallow consumption of words we are reading. She's emphasizing that true wisdom comes not from reading endlessly, but from thinking deeply, contemplating whatever I have read. How am I going to apply it to my life? I met somebody, an author in one of the institutes recently, some 1 or 2 months back. He also was talking to the students like exactly the same thing. It is not just about reading. Do you know whatever you're learning, how you're going to apply in your life? If you're not ready to understand that, how this learning I can apply to my life, then all the reading you have done has gone into waste. In today's world, we consume so much. There is a social media, there are a lot of books happening. When every other day there is a book release, there are a lot of news coming in. Recently, though, it's only news we are consuming and the social media effects. How much do we reflect on any of it? Reading 10 minutes means reading 10 hours of contemplating 10 hours of digestion, questioning, applying what I have read or what I have heard. How am I going to apply it? Otherwise, knowledge is just noise. That knowledge, which is not contemplated, is just noise. Then she's talking about, she writes, before you sleep, pray as you did in the morning. Review the actions of the day and see wherein you have failed, and resolve that you will not fail in them tomorrow. This is a beautiful thing. People who do it, they would realize, they'll agree with me. They say to err is human. Also, at the same time, people, seniors, advisors, do a mistake, but don't repeat that mistake. If we are repeating a mistake, that means we haven't learned. We haven't learned from our mistakes. That is why when we repeat a mistake, our seniors are not very happy with us, saying that why would you repeat the same mistake every time? Even parents tell their children, because repeating means you're not learning. You haven't learned out of that mistake or out of that situations. Exactly the same thing she's talking about here. Take a moment to pray, not just mechanically, but with your heart. Reflect on your day honestly. Where did you speak without thinking? All these rules you were saying, no? Where did you act out of impulse? So she's also suggesting it's not about judging yourself harshly, but just being aware and gently resolving to do better tomorrow. This is called self-accountability. Like looking in a spiritual mirror each night. Okay, today was the day I did so and so. I learned this. Probably tomorrow I should not be repeating this. At least let us get into that habit. And some practice sciences, some practitioner who are into habit formation, they say the rule that whatever you do for 21 days regularly without fail will be a habit of yours. It will fall into your practice. So even if somebody doesn't do a evening review, before sleep review, if at least for 21 days, let's try doing that. Maybe by the 7th day, the practice will come into your lifestyle. But there is no harm in trying. Let us try at least. And it's a good suggestion. The main requisite for, she writes again, the main requisite for acquiring self-knowledge is pure love. Seek knowledge for pure love, and self-knowledge eventually crowns the effort. The fact of a student growing impatient is proof positive that he works for reward and not for love, for what he's learning. And that, in its turn, proves that he doesn't deserve the great victory in store for those who really work for pure love. When she's talking about pure love here, She is emphasizing, she is reminding us that when we are on the path to true self-knowledge, we should not be driven by an ambition, impatience, reward, but pure love of what we are gaining, the knowledge we are gaining, the love for truth, for growing gradually. And the basic thing we are doing through that self-knowledge is the journey itself, when we are transcending from one to the other towards transformation. Why do we seek knowledge? Is it to earn praise, to get ahead, to feel superior? Or is it because we love the truth of that knowledge? This will decide. So, that particular love, which is pure, sincere, can lead us to self knowledge, the real self knowledge. Otherwise, as she already mentioned, that knowledge is otherwise a noise. She writes, the door through which he enters is called contentment. For he who is discontented with himself is discontented with the law that made him such as he is. And as God is himself the law, God will not come to those that are discontented. Contentment is the doorway through which the higher wisdom enters our lives. If we constantly criticize or reject ourselves, we are in a way rejecting the divine design that created us. The very life given to us is so much divine and pure. If we are not able to utilize it fruitfully, effectively, selflessly, with love, with purity, with sincerity, then we cannot criticize or reject why I have been given this life. This life is just bogus. No. It is only through acceptance and the inner peace we can open ourselves to all this clarity, self realization, grace, blessings, whatever we call it. If we are always dissatisfied with who we are, there are many people who are in the habit of saying, okay, my life is a hell, nothing good is happening. No, we have to see what is that, the inner message of that life. If we don't accept, we can never be content. Only contentment can come to those who are accepting their life. The more and more you accept your situations in life, contentment will occur to you, then happiness will stay there. The joyousness will stay there forever. There was a young sculptor who was trying to, carve out something from a stone. He had a stone and it had some flaws. So he had complained to his master. The master said, stop blaming the stone. Accept it fully and you will see what it truly holds. With some reluctance, the young sculptor worked on it with calm acceptance. To his surprise, it became his finest statue. So, with patience, with acceptance, this is the rule of life actually. If we accept and if we, let me just mute, there is some noise happening. Okay. So, if you accept and if you have patience, then only the beauty of life will be carved out of the whatever seeming meaningless, stony thing we are ending life as. She continues in this book, if we admit that we are in the stream of evolution, then each circumstance must be to us quite right. To act and act wisely when the time comes for action, to act, and to wait and wait patiently when it is time for repose, put man in accord with the rising and falling tides of affairs, so that with and law at his back and truth beneficence as his beacon light, he may accomplish wonders. So she's talking about every one of us is bound to be evolved. This is a right given to us as human beings. We are on the path of evolution. Some are evolving faster than us, some are slower than us, but evolution is the thing in our life. She's reminding us that please trust the timing of life. It might be occurring slow to you, but that is the timing that is meant for you. That is, whatever is given to us is quite rightfully given to us. People who are students of theosophy, they could easily connect it to, okay, it's my reincarnation, my past karma, that has given me so and so. So that is fine, that we already study and understand. But at least in our daily life, we don't reiterate that. Then we would be reading thousands of books of theosophy. We'd be talking about lot of karma, reincarnation stuff, but we are not accepting that each circumstance is actually right for me. There is also this old saying, many people say this: if whatever is in your mind and whatever you wish to have or be is occurring to you, very good. Whatever you wish to have and be, it's not occurring you, that's the best. Not even better, that's the best. So there's a degree, no, good, better, best. So I wish something, I got it, good. I wished, but I did not get it, that is the best that could happen with me. The moment I shift that thinking, I'll start seeing the real message of that situation. I might not see it that point of time because I'm kind of rigid. I'm kind of frustrated of life because my expectation was not met. But gradually, and when we evolve, we'll look back, we'll realize, okay, that was good, whatever was happening with me. So trusting the timing of life. Timing of life is the key thing we must remember. Okay, this is timing of life. This has to occur here only, here and now, and up to this limit only. And if we believe we are evolving, then everything that happens to us is part of that growth. Instead of resisting or complaining, we must learn to respond with wisdom. That is why she's writing, when it's time to act, act with courage. When it's time to pause, wait with patience. So courage and patience. A man had planted a bamboo seed. You must be knowing this story. He watered them every day. But for 4 or 5 years, nothing grew above the ground. And some people, mocked him, laughed at him. In the 5th year itself, the bamboo suddenly shot up 90 feet in just a few weeks. We all know about the bamboo tree, how it kind of shoots up at the, at a very later stage, but it then grows up like heavily, instantly, like as if it's a miracle. Like yesterday it was not there and today it's so high and long. What had it been doing all these years? It was growing deep roots. Because the farmer trusted the process, watered them every day, patiently waiting for 5 years, he got the results. There are times to act and times to root ourselves in silence and preparation. Something is not happening as per my wish. Let me just keep my preparation going on. Silently doing that. When we honor both the act and preparation, we'll go strong and rise high at the right time. So whoever we see as a very successful human being, a lot of things have gone into preparation of it, and silently the person would have done miracle growing deep roots. So growing deep roots is very important here. Growing high is not important. Growing deep roots, the more deep rooted growth has happened, the higher the person will be. It applies to every act of life, physically, mentally, spiritually. So the base has to be strong. Then only you can shoot up. She writes, it's useless to attempt to resist passion which we cannot control. If its accumulating energy is not led into other channels, it will grow until it becomes stronger than will and stronger than reason. To control it, you must lead it into another and higher channel. She's talking about managing our emotions and desires here, particularly those powerful passions that feel overwhelming. It warns that simply resisting a stronger emotion or desire is often useless. The wiser path is to transform it by redirecting its energy into something higher and more meaningful. We have already studied about desire and willpower in our theosophical text only. Desire is, I desire something, I have it, I create another desire to have more bigger things. Bigger things, more of it. The desire is never ending. Willpower is when I understand why I'm wanting this. Do I have that control where to end that? So my willpower will be stronger than my desire to bring me balance. She writes, learn that there is no cure for desire, no cure for the love of reward, no cure for the misery of longing, save in the fixing of the sight and hearing on that which is invisible and soundless. She's giving us a deep insight here, the nature of the desire and longing. Constant yearning, constantly wanting something more and more, to chase for gratification of the and desiring the rewards, it will never bring true peace or satisfaction. But something which is invisible, soundless, which is beyond the material, the inner stillness, spiritual truth, these are actually the essence of our life. Desire is a cycle that will have never, end. No matter how much we acquire, achieve, desire, there's always something more to long for. She's talking about shifting our attention away from the material to something deeper, something within. So instead of fighting the desire, if we can transcend it by turning inward and focusing on what is invisible, shifting that from one lower stuff to the higher stuff. There is this story I'm talking about here. There was a traveler who was traveling a lot. So he was very thirsty on his way and he was traveling with somebody very wise. So he was saying, complaining, I'm dying of thirst. Please give me water. So this wise sage pointed to a river and said, drink from that river. There's this river. Go and drink. The traveler approached, but then he noticed that the river was muddy and filled with debris. He turned back and said, the water is dirty. I cannot drink from that. The sage smiled and said, then sit still for a while. The river will calm and the water will become clear. So he wanted to say him, if there is turbulence with desire in your mind, you cannot satisfy your thirst. But when you sit in stillness, the longing will settle. Peace will arise. She writes, the man who wars against himself and wins the battle can do it only when he knows that in that war, he is doing the one thing which is worth doing. We are already in a state of war. For last almost 3 weeks, we are hearing out a lot of things. We are watching. We are following a lot of things around the war happening. At the same time, we all have this inner battle also. So it's not just the war that is going outside. There is this inner war of to forgive, to forget, to suppress, not to be jealous, how to resolve the conflict. So every human being has a battle going on inside. Internal war. Conflict between the higher ideals and the lower impulses. That could be impulsive things we would be doing, but then there is this higher ideal to control. So if we are winning this battle is a purpose, when we recognize that, the fight itself is meaningful. So every time, we call it war is war is unavoidable, or war is a call of the hour. Even Lord Krishna tried not to go for the war fast. He wanted to go slow. He wanted to move with peace. So whatever inner battle or inner war we are going through, at times in our daily life, whenever there is a conflict, the higher ideal should be pushed forward to take charge so that the lower impulses can be fought. With all energy, with all care, with all awareness, with all love, compassion, we can overcome our flaws, the fears, the negative patterns in our daily life. There are bad habits, negative thoughts, conflicting desires. Yes, they are already there, but we have to war against them. It's the only way to win the battle is by fighting that is worthwhile. It's not just about overcoming that. It's about deeper purpose of it. Why should I fight? She again writes another statement I'm going to read about this book. The immediate work, whatever it may be, has the abstract claim of duty, and its relative importance or non-importance is not to be considered at all. She's emphasizing the principle of duty here. The focus is on doing the work itself without being distracted by judgments of its importance or value. In our daily life, we often find ourselves questioning whether the task at hand is truly important or worth our time. Here we are taught that the value of the work is not the key. What matters is the duty to perform it. Whether the task seems big or small, if it's in front of us, it's our duty to give it our full attention and effort. Contemporarily also, there's a saying, do what you love and love what you do. That's fine. Do what you love is when you are compassionate, when you know that it's important, it's purposeful, please do it. And when life demands, situation demands, everything out external to us demands that we should do that work, and this is a duty. So we must love to do that. Love to do that. Do what you love and love what you do. So it is about commitment and responsibility. There was this gardener who was mending his garden. Somebody asked him, why do you spend so much time tending to these weeds? Weeds are insignificant compared to your beautiful plants. Why are you, spending time about them, weeding out things and all? The gardener smiled and said, the weeds may seem small, but they too are part of my garden's health. The work at hand, no matter how small, is the work that needs to be done. When I tend to the weeds, I'm tending to the entire garden. Sometimes in life, we think, oh, this is a very small thing. Why should I bother about it? We do not know that small thing might kind of come back humongously affecting our life. All of a sudden, then I just ignored this corner of this house. Okay, I didn't know that this is the dirt that will create this hazardous disease, or this is that part of my garden I ignored, and where from all these weeds were growing up, and that's how my garden was entirely distracted. Or this is that small aspect in the relationship I ignored, for which my relationship is now at stake. This is that small mistake I did in the social or communal forum, and that affected now this country. Now, this is how we should look at it. What is that thing I must be doing? There is nothing small or big here. It's what should be done. She writes, the best remedy for evil is not suppression, but the elimination of desire. In our first session, I think we talked about suppressing is not transforming. We have to face it on the face of it. We have to fight it. We often think of evil or negative behaviors as something we need to fight against directly. But this passage tells us that the most effective remedy is not suppression, it's elevation. By focusing on the divine flow of life, we can always face it and fight against it, but not suppress it. She's saying, know that the greatest temptation is to be without temptation. Wherefore be glad when it assaults thee, and with resignation, peace, and constancy resist it. It's a profound insight into temptation and resistance. It tells us that the greatest temptation is not necessarily the obvious external challenges, but the absence of temptation. When everything seems peaceful, free from struggle, in that moment of calm, we may forget the importance of staying rooted in our values and purpose. Sometimes to stay rooted with the values and purpose is very difficult because we're exposed to a lot of things in our daily life. Our friends, there are peer pressure, there are social pressure. We feel that, okay, no, I shouldn't, no. Why should not you behave with your values and purpose? Living your values and purpose just because of peer pressure or just because, this is the fashion of today's world might not work well if you are not even doing justice to whatever you're exposed to. Sometimes we get into a temptation to do or be differently, which you are not meant for. Then we realize, okay, I unnecessarily wasted my time. So staying rooted to values and purpose is very important. I understand it's difficult, but that is probably the greatest thing we could challenge. And we can turn that challenge into an opportunity to strengthen our character so that we stay aligned with the higher purpose. She writes, whatever there is to do has to be done, but not for the sake of enjoying the fruit of action. If all one's acts are performed with the full conviction that they are of no value to the actor, but are to be done simply because they have to be done, in other words, because it is in our nature to act, then the personality of egotism in us will grow weaker and weaker until it comes to rest. She is pointing out to the profound concept of selfless actions. Many of us, I have met a lot of people who are just acting selflessly. They really do not want in return anything. To stay like that is such a heavenly thing. It's such a beautiful thing. People who are doing that, we should regard such people that really they don't want anything in return. They just want to do selflessly for you because they have considered it as our duty. This is my duty. I must be doing it. Simply what must be done to be done. That is the key thing. Value of our actions, not the result. Then she writes, until the master chooses you to come to him, he with humanity and unselfishly work for its progress and advancement. This alone can bring true satisfaction. Selfless service, fulfillment come from the dedication for a greater good, for something huge, something for the universal happiness and health or universal transformation, not just for me. The true fulfillment will come from that, not from selfishness. She's saying knowledge increases in proportion to its use. That is, the more we teach, the more we learn. So while she's talking about selfless things, she's also talking about go and share. Do for others. If you have something, just go and teach others to do it. If you have got something which is beautiful and must be shared, go and share. Don't just keep it to yourself. The power of sharing, the power of teaching, it will deepen your knowledge. The more we teach, the more we share, the more we learn. Then she writes, no man is your enemy, nor friend. All alike are your teachers. One must no longer work for the benefit of self, which is temporal, but fulfill the law of being, which is the righteous of will of God, that is spiritual. This passage is carrying a very profound message about detachment from external judgments, focusing on the inner law of being and considering every person as not just an enemy or a friend, but a teacher. Everyone, regardless of their actions and reactions or relationships to us, are serving as a teacher to us. Every interaction is providing us an opportunity for learning, growth, understanding. So when we remove that attachment to the personal gain or desire, we can begin to act in alignment with the righteous will of God, which is higher, universal, which I'm continuously repeating. Not the selfish, petty things, but the higher universal thing. In our daily life, we often label people, okay, she's a friend of mine, or she's an enemy of mine, or he's a family friend, he's an enemy. No friend, no enemy. We have to grow beyond that. Everyone is a teacher. Okay, life is teaching me this. Okay, by this, you actually I learned something from you. The moment we are on a learning mode of our life, no, we are sorted. We have to learn, keep on learning, because our life's essence is evolution. Evolution means I must be learning, I must be growing, I must be evolving. If I leave learning, my evolution is at stake. Then I'm not in alignment with the evolution. I'm not in alignment with my higher life, higher source. So in our daily life, I will stop here. Let us learn. In my the second session, the coming session, that will be the last part of the book. We will talk about more things which Madam Blavatsky wants us to read, understand, observe, and apply. Till the time, I will request you, let us be learners, learners of life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sister Suvralina. It was so wonderful. There were so many takeaways for me also personally, being a special needs mother. The first thing I had to learn was acceptance, which was a point you made that we have to accept what is in our life. And once I found that we accepted our situation, we were able to actually deal with it in a proper way, in a wise way. So that is a key for all problems that we have to face. And then you also mentioned something about changing something with courage. If there is something to be changed, we have to change it with courage. Then you also mentioned about this aspect which Krishnamurti, and it's good to mention Krishnamurti today because today is 130 years of his birth anniversary, 11th May.
Yeah.
So he said about the religious mind that it is a mind which is divine in the sense that it brings everything that it has together. The word religion means to bring together. So that it brings everything it has together within itself and makes itself that pure. So then it is able to experience that divine. So there are also a lot of things from Buddhism and also, I think there was a Mabel Collins from that book also. There was this last bit that you mentioned. There is wisdom from various quarters. So now I welcome others to say something. We have Abanji, Sushma ji, and others, very wise
Yeah, because it's a
listeners.
daily life thing. Everyone can, share their experience here because that's what we learned. We should share. Anything which is there, please share and let us help each other to grow, evolve. So nicely concluded, Vimalji. Thank you.
Thank
Avanji, you can unmute yourself and say, please.
I'm Aman Patel. I have heard you earlier, but I'm recollecting now regarding courage, which we were talking. Vimal also said just now. There is a very beautiful lines which you all must be knowing. I would like to repeat it, which I repeat every day. God grant me the serenity to accept the things which I cannot change, courage to change the things which I can, and wisdom to know the difference.
Yes.
Isn't it beautiful? We have to accept whatever is given to us. But if we want to change, then we will have to have that courage. But then you should have the wisdom to accept whatever results that comes out of it. Many a times, people like us just don't do it offhandedly. We always think before we speak, you know. But there are times when our judgment is not correct. So it is always better to think over it and then speak about it. And very well illustrated all these points which you have done today. And another thing about reading, you had said that knowledge is.
Yeah.
Eddie Besant has said that when you have a book, we read, but don't want changing pages one after the other. Read one chapter or read one paragraph, close the book, and try to reflect upon what we have read. That is how we imbibe the knowledge and we continue to follow what we have read. That is a very um, powerful quotation which I have always in my mind because I also take classes of theosophy in Blavatsky Lodge on every Friday. So I also do a lot of reading, but then I also have to, when I feel that this is too difficult to understand, I close the book, go out for a while, and then I try to reflect, and masters help me to again.
That's a good practice, ma'am. Definitely. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. Yes, Pradeep ji, I see you've put your video on. Would you like to say something? You're mute, sir. You're mute.
Very long time gap I have seen the Abanji. Thank you, Abanji, for your nice way of speaking something relevant to the topic. Now, my point is this book, when it was written by Blavatsky, she marked there are many books already she wrote. And for the practice, she marked the people are only studying and for daily practice. So she wrote this book. This is a beautiful small book, but each and everyone should read it, not twice, not for a lifelong exercise.
True.
There are many interesting subjects are there for Vidyas and particularly what is occult art, occult science. Many things are there. And today, what Suvralina madam has presented, this daily life is actually our spiritual life. The moment we generally wake up till the going to bed, everything is spiritual, everything is religious. We may, depending upon our evolution, we may say we are going to that place, this place, or some work are there. If we are aware of everything, that all things are spiritual or religious, so your daily life will be more interesting. And that is really practical theosophy. And the study point, I generally always advise the younger ones to read less and ponder over, think over, and present it in your own words. While interacting with brother Sundaramji, he always, Sundaram S. Sundaram, who is actually main person doing this editing part of Indian Theosophist, he advised me, you read something, but present it in your own word. And he so meticulously observed semicolon, colon, or because of he belonged to Gandhian era, not a single sentence will escape. Suppose Pradeep Reddy, Pradeep MS, he wrote an article mentioning as if it is his own, but he pointed out this he collected from this book, he has collected from that book. Every sentence, this part sentence is there. So we are all students, we are all learner, and that should not be forgotten by us while we are doing our theosophical work, family work. So my point is every work, everything is spiritual, religious, and the daily life is no escape from it.
Right, sir.
Very well done, Suvralina Madam Ji.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Thank
very
you. You
Can
actually chose the right book. When which book we should take up, I asked, can I go ahead with this book? He said, yes, this is the book you should take up. Thanks for allowing me to do that. Yeah.
Your daughter is here, Pranshi. Would you like to say something?
Yeah, Pranchi and her friends had a session recently where we were talking. Pranchi, you may share that if you're there. If you can put your video and audio on. Yesterday only, I was conducting a session for her and her friends, and we were discussing about new things to do and renewing things. You'd like to say from here? Huh. Yeah, she's just joining me here. Yeah. Whatever Delhi life.
This is the book. We are doing practical occultism.
She has
Part-3.
gone through it. He made
Dubal
some
ji, brother Dubal. Dubal is from East Africa. Just
Yeah. Yes, sir. After Pranshi.
Yeah, you can share with
Yes, Pranshi.
No,
What did you
no,
like the most? Whatever
Today's-
touched you?
today's thing. Yeah, only the today's session. What are your takeaways?
The first thing which I liked was Mama mentioned about that Shikhar Bhaiya's video, which we used to follow, the meditation thing. And on daily basis, she keeps on giving me lessons about these stocks only. So I have an idea कैसा होगा. Yeah, that's it.
So, how does it feel to live with someone like your mother who has lots of wise things? Do you find that she gives you a lot of solutions to your problems? Does it help in that way?
Yeah, it's very inspiring actually because sometimes when you get stuck somewhere, मम्मी ने किसी दिन कुछ एक बात बोली होगी, वो उस टाइम हिट नहीं होगा, बट कभी कुछ दिनों बाद एक कुछ प्रॉब्लम में आप फंसे होगे तो वहां पे देन विल रिकॉल व्हाट शी सेड दैट डे, देन वहां से फिर
Nice. I think that is how we use all our spiritual wisdom. कहीं और कुछ पढ़ा हुआ तो बाद में use होता. Yes, Dubal ji, would you like to share something, sir? Thank you, Pranshi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, this is a nice book, and he has explained very nicely. What touched me is the contentment, because we are all going after the material objects in the world, but this contentment can be generated from inside. If we introspect ourselves, then we find that we are always happy. But when we are running after the worldly things, we are always finding we are frustrated. And tomorrow is the Buddha Purnima. So then also it is Buddha has said that mindfulness is very important. So we should be mindful of what we select and where our mind is moving. That helps us to be happy and blissful life. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I think.
Thank
we
you,
can end it.
Suvralina, and thank you, Fancy. A good mother you have get, Fancy.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Teach you from your childhood. It is a very luck. That is the karma of your previous birth. नहीं तो ऐसे मदर नहीं. Thank you, Suvralina.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
How
much.
clearly you explain everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
I request Sister Mitalini to give the closing prayer, please.
Namaste.
असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मां अमृतंगमय सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा भवेत्।
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Someone
Thank
raised her or his hand. Someone, I don't know who. Someone raised her hand or his hand.
No, Aben Patil ma'am was writing. Please give the name of the book which Brother Pradeepji referred.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to know if Sir Pradeepji has mentioned that this book. So I asked, and Vimal told me that it's the same
Okay.
book. Which
Okay,
I
ma'am.
think.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
So
you
we
very
will
much.
be closing the session. The last part we will do it next Sunday. And as I said, this is one of my personal favorites. I always refer to this book. Like the Bhagavad Gita, I have been referring for so many years. Practical occultism has been like that for me, for referring to and finding out things. Thank you so much. I'm
Thank you.
actually thankful to Pradeep Bhaiya. He gave me this chance to read this book. Thank you all. Thank you.
Have a
Bye.